What's up, everyone, and welcome to the most positive pop culture podcast in the multiverse, Metalcore Nerds, where each week I have a guest in the podcasting or music community to talk about the latest and greatest in entertainment. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and today we're talking about the return of the GOAT back to our TV screens with the premiere of Daredevil Born Again. My co-host this week is Joel Haston of Pinup Presents. Welcome back to the show for probably the 100th time, my friend.
What's up? What's up, dude? The 100th time. I mean, I wish, dude. I wish, Sean Mott. I wish.
That'd be up there, you know, at least in the double digits.
I mean, I'm up there. I mean, it's probably Sam and I that have been on the show the most, which I'm okay being second to Sam. So
no, it's probably you and my friend Matt. My friend Matt is probably the one that's giving you a run for your money.
you're gonna tell him to channel his inner Henry Cavill and get a broadsword, so there can only be one, Sean. Matt, if you check out this episode, I'm coming for you.
I was hoping you were gonna say I'm coming for you.
Yeah, dude. Shades of Booker T. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yes. Very nice.
I know we're supposed to talk about Marvel. Did you see that behind the scenes clip from NXT the other week?
The only thing wrestling I've seen lately is the John Cena heel turn. That's the only thing I've seen. Very odd tune for the wrestling one.
That's fine. So that should happen with Hogan came out like 2 pay-per-views ago and got booed out of the fucking arena.
Yeah, I did see that
a couple weeks ago at NXT. NXT I think was in Houston, where Booker's from, and I'm pretty sure it was in Houston. I could be wrong. I'd have to find the clip. But Booker walks out, and the whole crowd just starts chanting, "Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!" He starts chanting it, and Booker's like just walking in, like dying, laughing, dude. Like it was gnarly. It was hilarious, dude.
Sometimes the wrestling community impresses me. Most of the time it doesn't.
Sometimes they're just fucking. Most of the time I'm embarrassed to be part of it because they're just fucking neckbeards living in their mom's basement. But like that time, I was like, "Let's go."
Yeah,
because as the Iron Sheik would say, "Fuck Hulk Hogan."
Housekeeping for the podcast. I've probably already posted this about social media by now, but the podcast is going to be moving to a bi-weekly format. I've been lucky enough to have been granted many opportunities in my freelance work life that has occupied my time a lot more than before. So I felt it was best to kind of still keep it going, but keep it going at a pace that's probably more easy for me to keep up with. But with that, I'm going to test this new thing since I have this YouTube channel that doesn't get much love other than the clip outs I do for every episode. Is I'm going to try a video format of the podcast. I'm going to try to edit video and see where that goes. See if it grows on YouTube or not. And I know also if you're listening to this on Spotify, there's a video option too. I'll be uploading the video there as well. So there'll be multiple ways where you can watch the show now. So that's exciting. And if you are finding this on YouTube, obviously subscribe, like, comment, whatever, anything to help to appease the algorithm gods. And that's exactly what you can do if you're listening to this. If you're listening to this and you discovered us through something else, subscribe on where you're listening to us on your favorite podcasting platform. Where it's applicable, leave a 5-star review. It helps this podcast continue to grow, helps more people find the show. You want to find us on social media? It's just at Metalcore Nerds, anywhere on the socials. We're not on all of them, but we're on a lot of them. We're even on Threads if you're a Threads guy.
As I love Threads. As the creator, as the other content creators in the say, click the link at the bottom,
Yeah.
Right? That's how it goes, right, Sean? Am I plugging that right? Dude, going to bi-weekly, Sean, I'm going to have to give you, now I'm less busy these days, maybe I need to give you my nickname that Pitbull stole for me. Maybe you're Mr. Worldwide now. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, you're getting there, man. Like the show's doing great. You're doing all these articles. You're doing artwork for worldwide clients, bro. I mean, listen. I'll gas you up all day, brother. You know what I mean? Like,
thanks, buddy.
People that are tuning in need to know how awesome you are, Sean.
You're too kind.
You're not just the nerdy metalcore overlord. You know what I mean? You're like a solid ass dude IRL.
Thanks, buddy. If you want to catch more of me in the podcasting realm, I have been on Agents of Fandom, wherever you find podcasts, and their live YouTube show for the Invincible After Show, which will obviously conclude next week when season 3 is over. But I will be doing the Last of Us After Show also as well, which I think will be on Mondays, the day after the episode's premiere. And I'll be doing some more interviews for Agents of Fandom as well. I just started writing some reviews. So if you want more of my written work, obviously I have a lot going on at Collider, and for reviews, they'll be over at Ages of Fandom for the time being. So yeah, if you want to check out any of that stuff, that's where you can find it. All right, let's kick off the pop culture talk. Now watching, Joel. So what have you been watching? TV, movies, new, old? What have you been viewing, my friend?
Well, first and foremost, I was just in Europe, so on the flight back, there was a large movie collection on the plane. I watched 8 Mile. Not gonna lie to you.
Oh shit!
That was the last movie I watched. You know,
Right.
it holds up, dude. Watching Eminem verbally bitch slap Anthony Mackie is hilarious because I always forget that like that was when Anthony Mackie's like first roles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in like a you know, he's not really a lead, you know, but he's like the main bad guy, I guess. Yeah, there you go, antagonist. Sorry, you're better at these words than I am. I watched that. You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for Brittany Murphy. I know a lot of people our age do, but
R.I.P.
She was one of the queens growing up for me. So, you know, yes, rest in power to that literal angel. Other than that, as you mentioned, I've been watching Invincible. Just watched the newest episode last night. That you were right. That was insane. That show, you know, it's like weird. I go through these phases where I'm like, oh, sometimes it starts a little slow or there's this or that. I know they're cramming a lot of stories into 8 seasons, you know. I think I would appreciate the flow a little better if I actually read the comics. But, you know, this season I really like the way they've stepped a lot of stuff up. It's a little bit more linear. There's not like 8 stories at once. There's only like 2. You know what I mean? Just finished fucking Paradise, man. Holy smokes.
Bro, let's go.
Bro, so good. There was some stuff in that last episode that kind of let me down.
Interesting.
If I'm being honest with you. But I'm still
stoked.
I didn't like, so like I understand that they have to have a story for season 2. I understand that there has to be continuation. The shit with his daughter and, you know, he wants to find his wife and the reveal, you know, I get it. Sorry for the spoilers if anyone's not caught up. But what I don't like is that episode, you know, episode 6 and 7 were so good. You had so much content, so much good storytelling, so much good character development. You finally get and understand the background of like why he truly hates Cal. But there was a lot of things in those 2 episodes that I don't think were tied off properly. You know, this implication that Cal figured out a way to save Terry.
Yeah, they explained.
You know, I mean, did they though?
Yeah, they totally explained it.
I mean, but you know, it's like, I mean, I don't know. They left it a little ambiguous, at least in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
I felt like
he gave Xavier the tools to make sure she got out all right. You know what I mean? But the fact that he's been hating him this whole time, like if Cal knew Terry was alive, he should have fucking said something.
He didn't know she was alive. That's the point.
I know, but that's the implication I got is that there was this like, oh, what do you mean Cal never told you? Like, I mean that's the vibe I got out of it. You know what I mean? But then also all the work they did in episode 6, like I get that Sinatra got shot, but there was no like upheaval of the leadership down on the dome. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there was this like, yeah, Xavier's taken off, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but you know, like I feel like all that it just ended up being, you know, like it was an important plot point, and then it was just like, oh, okay, he's leaving to go find her. You know, I know the story's really focused on him, but I really like the world building they've done, and so I thought that was, you know, like the fallout is just all the fucking billionaires in the room freaking out. You know what I mean? Like, and that was it.
I think you missed some things.
I thought, no, I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to chime in here, brother. But like,
so I just wrote an article for Collider of how season 2 will be a lot different than season 1, mostly because of the environment it's going to be in. And I'm going to try and be vague to not spoil anything. But if anyone hasn't watched Paradise, I would just go forward a few minutes so you don't get spoiled anything, because it's an incredible show and there's a lot of twists and turns, and I would like you to live in those twists and turns. But so Cal never knew that Terry was still alive. So when he employed the nuclear football, which sends out all the nukes because everyone else is trying to nuke them, there is a safe switch, aka the blue switch, that he flips that activates all the EMP switches, that deactivates any form of advanced technology. And that is so hopefully they didn't send the world into a total nuclear holocaust, which we see that he succeeded in.
Yes.
Because Atlanta didn't fall. but he didn't know, like he was trying to get answers about the outside world, but Sinatra was already one step ahead of him to prevent that he got those answers. So Sinatra knows that she might be alive, but Cal never knew. So Xavier's reason for hating Cal, quote unquote, are valid because he thought that he should have told him or been more forth-putting about, hey, the world's going to shit. Make sure your wife doesn't leave.
Yeah.
And
no, and I agree. I know
didn't
that.
do
And
that
I agree
until
with
like
that.
the last possible second. And even as they're like boarding, he's like, oh yeah, she's not going to make it. That was his problem. You know what I mean?
No, I know. Well, I just felt like there was this ambiguous implication that Cal, that like, yes, Cal did that, and no one really knew other than Sinatra. But like, I don't know. I just felt like there was this like implication made to Xavier that Cal did more than he knew about, which I guess is fair because he didn't know about the EMP. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the notes he finds were like, hey, if she did survive, here's how you get there and here's how you make it happen. So it's kind of like him apologizing without apologizing. Like as we saw, we knew he was gonna die. Like he knew it. Like he was trying to like plan his last day. You know, he made that mixtape for his son. He was trying to have dinner with his son. Like he was trying to make everything right.
He made the
in
notes.
His world. You know, like he tried. And that's what I kind of liked about it, because, you know, they kind of play him off in the beginning as this kind of like, he got everything handed to him, the super privileged dude. Yeah. Who's just like a figurehead, you know, and then you see more. It's like, this dude is actually a really good dude and was trying to do right, which is very unpolitician like, you know what I mean? But he never wanted to be a politician. He wanted to be a teacher. And dude, James Marsden, I don't think he gets enough credit sometimes, because he absolutely killed this role. And obviously Sterling K. Brown, amazing. Sterling K. Brown is
everybody likes to hate on James Marsden, like outside of him being an actor, but he did do a very good job as Cal. I agree with you. I was very impressed. Like,
so good. Yeah, totally agreed. Is there anything else you've been watching other than that stuff?
Reacher's on. I mean, I don't think you know anybody that's a bigger Reacher stan than me right now, but I mean, I love Al. I mean, I feel like every time I'm on your podcast, I mention how much I love Alan Richardson or however the hell you say his last name. I love the vibe of this season. I love the new characters. I love, you know, you still get the little peak of Neely. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's cool. Like I'm loving that. And then I'm watching. My wife has never seen all of Gossip Girl.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've rewatched all of that with her, and we're on the last season of that. Yeah.
Talk about a reveal.
Oh, right. And then Tracker. I'm a big fan of Justin Hartley or whatever. For those of you that keep track of rom-coms and childhood, he was the original Green Arrow on TV. I think that's mostly it. Other than that, movie-wise, like other than rewatching 8 Mile on the plane, I also watched Venom: The Last Dance on the plane. We don't need to discuss that. And, you know, Captain America: Brave New World.
What'd you think about that?
About Venom or Cap?
Cap. Yeah, fuck Venom. I don't care about that.
Venom, the only thing I'm going to say is at the end, it was sick seeing all the different symbiotes. Like, I really like seeing the blue symbiote. Like, I thought that little feeder was cool, but the rest of it was like, man, you know, just like, I really enjoyed the first Venom movie. I was really holding out that like maybe this would be better, and it just Cap was great.
Yeah,
Anthony Mackie, like first movie, him as full movie as Cap, like I thought it was great. I love the suit changes. I love seeing more of the new Falcon, even though he's like technically not Falcon yet. You know what I mean? Really hoping he does get an upgraded suit when next time we see him. I love that it's like they never say it too much, but you know, like he still relies on the Wakandan tech and Red Wing and some of that stuff. So it like if you pay attention, you really see Sam struggle with the fact. I mean, yes, obviously he verbally says it, but like really him struggling with the fact that he's just a guy. You know what I mean? Like I like that it's like defining the good character he is, and I mean character is like inside, not the character he's playing. You know,
for sure,
that he still struggles with just being a regular ass human dude. You know, I liked it. I thought Harrison Ford did a great job. I really enjoyed Isaiah Bradley and them continuing to keep him involved in the story. I think that's wonderful. You know, overall, I thought it was it's going to fit into this next wave of stuff for the MCU pretty well. I think. I think
For sure.
it. We've been talking. Everyone's been talking about a rebuild or this face has been lame or this or that, or a lot of the stories are scattered. Like we finally have something where all the pieces of the puzzle can start fitting together with what happened in Brave New World.
Yep. 100%.
And so,
Yeah.
So I dug it. I feel like, I mean, I don't know, you might disagree with me on this, but I feel like Giancarlo Esposito's casting was a little wasted. I feel like we could have had more Serpent Society. I know that's what supposedly was originally in the movie before the reshoots, was there was more on that, but they felt like it was too goofy and not grounded enough, or whatever the hell the excuse was. You probably know better than me. But overall, I loved the movie. I loved the Red Hulk. I like the way they did the leader. I like the way Sam explores his human connections and loyalty to other people. I really like them showing, hey, there are people even like people that were in the U.S. military that are loyal to Cap and what it stands for over their loyalty to the country. I thought that was a really important message to send.
Yeah, the movie was solid. It was a solid movie. I can see why people, like a lot of people said Juan Carlo was wasted. I think he played his role. Like he's a great actor, and I think his role was fine. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what bigger role they would have given him. I mean, he had a pretty fair amount of screen time, and his presence was pretty deadly. And he did give a chance to showcase Sam outside the suit and see how like he can hold his own without all of the bells and whistles, which I thought was
I did enjoy that scene quite a bit. That was that was the most like Winter Soldier Civil War-esque scene that we got. I really feel that. Like all the fight scenes were good, but Sam being out of his suit and fighting with him was just, I was like you said, I love that it just kind of gave off that vibe.
Yeah. Kind of to like echo what you said, it feels like the MCU is like connected again, which I feel like it has been missing sorely since like post Endgame. So that's nice. That's a nice feeling to have going into this movie and feeling like, oh wow, I can kind of see where things are starting to go. So yeah, that's not like, and we have both talked about this. I don't hate the MCU. I've enjoyed quite a bit of what the MCU has had to offer post Endgame. But it's nice to see it on a track that you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where this is going, and like, oh wow, here's all these loose ends from the other movies coming into play in this movie. Like it was nice to see that and feel that. I also obviously love Paradise, watch Paradise. Can't wait for season 2. Other than that, I watched this new series called Dope Thief. It's coming to Apple TV Plus on March 14th. It stars Brian Tyree Henry and Wagner Moura. It's based on a book, and basically the main premise is these two lifelong best friends from Philadelphia, and they pose as DEA agents and rip off like small-time drug dealers. And they do it in a way so they don't get caught, and they just get enough money to scrape by. They're not like big like crime bosses or anything. They're just doing it to survive. But
interesting,
they end up, Brian Tyree Henry's character is like pretty much like surrogate mother, gets into some sort of trouble, needs a lot of money, so they go for like a big kind of job that they usually don't go for because they want to keep a low profile so they can continue to do this. And they busted in the wrong house and shit goes fucking crazy. It's a solid series. I wouldn't say it's amazing. At the end, it kind of let me down because I feel like all the pieces were there, but some of the execution was a little weird. But the show creator, he actually has helped write Top Gun Maverick, The Batman, a ton of like really good stuff. And Ridley Scott is an executive producer, and he directs the pilot. So there's a lot to like about it. And Brian Tyree Henry is a fucking generational talent. He's incredible. He was in Eternals. He was in Atlanta. He voices the dad in the Spider-Verse movies. He voiced Megatron in Transformers 1. Dude's amazing. So if you're looking for like a new crime drama to watch, check out Dope Thief. Again, I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's definitely worth the watch at least. My last trip to the movies was to see The Monkey, which is the new adaptation of a Stephen King short story. And it's just a batshit crazy horror comedy. Like it's some of the most fun I've had in a theater in a minute. It just like is so balls to the wall wild with like
Okay.
basically the main premise is there's this like toy monkey that you wind up, and every time it winds up it kills someone, and there's like no kind of choosing how or why the person gets killed, and it turns into this like really wild story of revenge and death and everything like that, but it's
Interesting.
funny. Like it's very
Okay.
funny. So I don't know, if you're a horror comedy person, I would say go check it out and just have fun with it. It's not scary. It is bloody. The kills are pretty brutal, and some of them are
Okay.
like really over the top, but it like knows what it is and it delivers on like what it should be. Really,
Okay.
really solid movie to go check out for sure. And then I've been watching this show on Hulu called High Potential,
Okay.
and it stars Caitlin Olsen.
I've seen a lot of trailers for that show, but I haven't started watching it yet.
Dude, it is like honestly really great. It's created by Drew Goddard, who did the Netflix Daredevil show. And
Okay.
if I had to like describe the tone, it's kind of like Dexter meets Only Murders in the Building, because it's not as serious as Dexter, but it has like it's very much kind of like case of the week kind of. That's how the episodes
Okay.
are, but
Yeah.
there's like an overarching kind of narrative of the show that's anchored obviously by Caitlin's character. But
Mhm.
basically she has this thing, it's called high potential. She basically has like an insanely high IQ, and she has like photographic memory and just knows all these crazy facts, and ends up becoming a consultant for the LAPD. So
Okay.
like every week is like a new case where she helps solve the murder. It's usually a murder, and they help solve the
Yeah.
case. And it's just so great. But it's like sometimes it feels like Dexter because it's that kind of crime scene investigative thing.
Yeah.
But I say Only Murders in the Building because it has this like playful tone, but there's also serious moments, and there's also kind of
Okay.
like, like blood, there's murders involved and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's like a super good show. Like I saw everyone talking about it, and it came out last year, and then eventually I just started watching it, and kind of in between when I've had like screeners to watch or trying to keep up with what's current, when I don't have anything to watch, I've been watching that, and just really, really good show. So if you have Hulu,
Excellent.
go check it out. The first season is out. It got renewed for a season 2. I know it was very popular. I think technically it's an
Sick.
ABC show, but all the network
Oh,
stuff goes
okay.
on streaming now.
Yeah.
Disney owns Hulu and ABC, so why it's
I
up
know.
on Hulu.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been watching
That's
lately,
cool.
to be honest.
I
Other
want
than
to
the
make a
normal.
recommendation. I want to make a recommendation to the viewers because we keep coming back to crime dramas. I've become a pretty big Tyler Sheridan fan over the last couple of years, and I feel like the property that he's done that not enough people talk about is Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner.
Yes, yes, yes.
Super great crime drama. If you're into that stuff, it has a fresh spin on the law being good and bad, and the prison system, and also gang wars and stuff like that. It's really hard to get into it without giving much away. But Jeremy Renner's character is basically he's the mayor of Kingstown. That's the pseudonym he has, and he is a liaison between the people in prison and all the gangs and the guards and the police and the DA. And it's a really fresh look at like the criminal world in correlation to the police. Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Plus, it's Jeremy Renner. I mean, how can you not enjoy something he's in?
True. I
So
think I've watched the first few episodes, and then I stopped for literally no reason other than I just did.
yeah,
But I liked what I
yeah.
saw.
I mean, they're through season 3 now. I think with him, after the accident and whatnot, and then he's busy with other projects. I don't know if we're gonna get a season 4 or not, but shows that's probably in the last 5 years. That's probably my number one TV show I've watched.
What? Mayor of Kingstown?
Dude, it's good. Dude, I loved it. The drama and like, yeah, you just got to watch the way.
Someone hasn't watched Severance.
I have not watched Severance. We've
See?
I don't have Apple TV. You and I have this discussion every like month, Sean. It's like the one streaming platform I don't have.
Messing up, dude. It's the best one out there.
I know. I'm aware. Anyways, enough about that, Sean. Let's get to the thick of it, brother.
I know. Okay, Daredevil Born Again. So leading up to this,
could you sound more unenthusiastic when you said that? We're talking about Daredevil Born Again.
Relax.
Sorry, it's your show. I'll calm down.
So I rewatched all of Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, leading up to this. I finished season 3 like a week ago. So I was primed and ready. for this series. Before we get into my thoughts, I want to hear your general thoughts on the 2-episode premiere, my friend. Joel, what do you think?
First off, boy, do they stick the landing. That's all I have to say. Like, the vibe is good. I was really happy. So I watched, Disney has those little like 3-minute behind the scenes shit now on everything before it comes out.
Yeah.
I actually watched that this time. I normally ignore those. It was you could tell they mentioned that they brought back the fight coordinator from the first 2 seasons. You can thoroughly tell right away, immediately. That's great. The vibe, the dark gritty vibe is there. Like, the camera work, the cinematography, it's great. First and foremost, Charlie Cox was born to play that role. Like, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I just, there's a lot of those discussions on like, oh, this actor is perfect for this, or I can never see this hero being played by anyone else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, to me, Charlie Cox is that. You know what I mean? He just, and also like, hey, you got to play a blind guy who's also a superhero. Like none of us are actors. That's not easy. Right. That's not an easy feat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so he does it well. You just dive in feet first. There's no, I wasn't sure if it was going to kind of be like a background, or like they said it was kind of a continuation and not a retelling of like how he gets his powers. You know what I mean? Like, I liked that they didn't do that, but like, holy shit, you're just thrown right into this shit sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, man. It was awesome. Are we doing a spoiler-free discussion or?
No, spoiler-filled, my friend.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, for all you internet sleuths, fuck you. That's all I gotta say about that. Like, I was really bummed that somebody did the whole like, oh, the actor that plays Foggy is only listed in 1 episode. You and I already talked about this like off the camera, Sean, and it was like we kind of knew that something bad was going to happen to him, or he was going to leave the show. And I mean, like, that being the first 15 minutes of the episode of him getting fucking murdered is just insane. And the way they did it was wild. And like, him and Karen and Matt still trying to be good people, good lawyers, helping good people, doing the right thing. And then like Foggy's the one that pays for it. And it sets the tone for the show.
For sure.
Because you watched the old show more recently than me, but Matt always struggled with his dark passenger or his dark his other side, and the whole season with Punisher, a lot of it was like, no, I don't kill people, we don't do that. And then Frank was like, well, if you give them the chance, they'll kill you, that's why you should kill them. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing.
And he did try to kill Bullseye. He tried.
He tried. And he didn't seem to show too much remorse about it, which was, I think, scared Matt as well. And I think that's the real reason why he hung up the cowl for now. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know if I'm a fan of this whole him and Karen had a falling out and she's in New York or she's in San Francisco now and this and that. That's a to be determined. It makes sense from a storytelling perspective, but I just don't know, as someone who enjoyed the old show so much, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, shit, dude. And then, the ending of episode 2 was just like him having that struggle again, of like, shit, I have to be that way right now, like he's just trying so hard to be good and there's just so much bad. I really like this new dichotomy we're getting out of Fisk. I mean, obviously we know he's at some point in time just going to go full on bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to snap again. Sure. Like, we know it'll happen, but I like that they're trying to play it up like he is trying to be different. And the thing that sucks for the average viewer, if you're not going to understand the shit Fisk is talking about if you haven't watched Echo. I know a lot of people didn't want to give that show a chance.
I don't think so, because they kind of just vaguely reference it, and it doesn't really play a factor into the overall plot. Because I think this is the problem I have with people saying these things about comic book like adaptations in specifically, because I know some people might go into this show because if you aren't familiar with the Netflix series, you're kind of just thrust into this world and have no idea who they are. But that's how every series starts ever. Like, think about Succession, Breaking Bad, The Last of Us. Like, you all get thrown into this world and you learn about it as it goes out. So even if you're coming to this and know nothing, you're like, oh, what's this new Daredevil show? You will get caught up to what you need to know. Like you'll go, oh, there was this past with someone who shot him in the face. Oh, there's a past with Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. I wonder what that's about. And that will probably either garner them to go watch a recap video or revisit the series or read an article about it, which is fine and all readily available there. I think it does a great job of continuing what was built on Netflix, but being its own thing entirely. And I feel like the opening scene is kind of for returning fans of the Netflix series. You're like, oh,
100%.
We are back. Let's go. And I loved that. I liked how he did that. Like, it starts on a one take fight sequence, like it was great. And it's a big payoff, especially for after season 3 with Bullseye being involved, everything like that. It was a great payoff. But I think what this show is doing stylistically that feels so different from the Netflix series, I think is kind of not being talked about enough. People are talking about how they're showcasing his kind of like ultra sensitive hearing and his powers more. And I agree. I think it's awesome how they do the aspect ratio shift, how they're like pinpointing in how he hears things differently. I love how they're doing that. I think it's incredible. But there's a new like kinetic frantic energy to this series that the Netflix series didn't have. Like, it starts off with all this B-roll and all these shots of New York City, and the editing is like so fast paced. It like adds to the anxiety and the intensity that the series, especially in episode 2, you see it like building to this like boiling point, and then eventually at the end of the episode it pays off. But I love these changes that they're making. It, to me, it feels a lot like X-Men 97, where they're continuing a beloved thing, but they're doing their own thing with it, which I think is what they needed to do.
I agree.
They didn't need to recreate the wheel. There's 3 seasons of it. You don't need to redo that. But continuing in a way where it pays homage to that and continues all those things just in a fresh way, I think is perfect. And I love that they brought in the showrunner who handled the Punisher series. You can definitely tell he's familiar with the world, loves the world. It starts off in a brutal and bloody way. Bullseye just like killing random people as he's fighting Daredevil in the middle of it is so brutal and insane.
And I feel like that's something we haven't, like, how do I say this? In Marvel, we haven't really seen that. Like, it's like you expect Thanos to do that. You expect Ultron to just melt people. But like, so for those of you watching, and I'm sure Sean can explain this better than me, but Bullseye basically doesn't miss. That's his whole thing. He doesn't miss. So like they're fighting, and like, for example, he'll pick up a cue ball, and he'll in the middle of fighting Daredevil, they're fighting, and he'll pick up a cue ball and throw it at the wall, knowing it's gonna bounce off the wall and hit 2 people in the temple and kill them. And they're just random bystanders in the bar where the fight is. Like, so that's his whole ability. That's why in the scene where at the end of the fight, when they're when the light's flickering, he still hits Daredevil with all those knives because he just doesn't miss. That's what he fucking does. Like, I don't remember him having like this regenerative not dying shit, but I think that they added that. That's what they added at the end of season 3, right? To him.
So
like gene splicing or something, or is that a normal power he has in the comics? I don't remember.
No, I mean, Kingpin broke his back at the end of season 3. So he got surgery where he got this new metal infused into his skeleton. So that's why he didn't die, is because but in the comics, he gets adamantium put in his back, and that's what saves him. Now the adamantium's in the MCU. Maybe that's a future thing that can happen, because I really hope. I can understand being like, oh, this big show off happened and now it's over. If they don't bring Bullseye back in the rest of the series, I will be kind of upset that that's all we get of him. But I am very hopeful we will see more of him, because I know there was like a shot in the trailer of him like in orange prison suit that we didn't see in the first 2 episodes. So I am very hopeful we will see more of Bullseye, because I think he's another Kingpin to him. It's just this enemy that he can't get rid of.
Yeah.
And he just like keeps coming back, and it adds to that dichotomy of like, do I just kill these people and get rid of them? If you're watching Invincible, it's like a very prevalent thing in Invincible as well. And it's a very interesting foil to dive into with this character. And it's exactly that conversation you said he had with Punisher. And I think that's how Punisher is going to play into a major factor of this series too, is him being like, do I just kill people like you? And like the line he says in Daredevil season 2, you're just one bad day from becoming me. And we saw that bad day happen right in front of us. And seeing the horror of Karen Page as she knows that Matt just tossed Bullseye off the roof is wild.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might miss that. I think people are just like, oh, Foggy's dead. And that's why she's yelling. No, she's yelling because she watched Matt turn into the thing they all were worried about by throwing him off the roof. Like she watched him lose control. And I think that's I think that's really why she leaves. It's not just Foggy being dead. It's like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem. I agree with you. I hope Bullseye comes back. One thing that I thought was, I don't want to already be a hater on the first two episodes, but like I texted you about this the other day. Like Marvel has stuck the landing on the new Cap suit, the new Daredevil suits we're gonna see. I liked the suits in She-Hulk. I liked the suits in Hawkeye. I think all the things they're doing are rad. And Bullseye, yeah, he had the targets on his gloves, and I think he had one on his helmet. But like, I want to see a more comic accurate Bullseye outfit. I just think that would be rad. And so I also know the show has that dark overtone. So him just looking like an assassin wearing all black, I get it. But I do hope when he comes back, we get that.
For sure,
dude. With what you're saying with the filming and the pacing and all of that is so true. The show looks great. I like that it's still keeping the city of New York and the citizens of Hell's Kitchen like involved because they are an integral part of Daredevil's story. And it's like we all get the joke, oh, Steve Rogers from Brooklyn. Like it's always there, it's always mentioned, but I feel like especially with the Netflix show, Daredevil is like part of his identity is where he's fucking from. And I like that they're still keeping that inclusion here in the show.
Yeah. I want to lay out a crazy theory for you.
Hit me with it.
So they've already confirmed that Eldon Henson is returning for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again to play Foggy. Now, a lot of people will suggest, oh, it'll just be some flashback scenes or something, because flashback scenes are very prevalent, at least in the original incarnation of Daredevil.
Yeah.
But there is a comic run where Foggy fakes his death, and the issue number of that comic run is 468, and the address for Nelson Murdoch and Page law firm office was 468. Just going to throw that out there. Maybe Foggy isn't really dead. Does that kind of ruin some of the stakes? Maybe. We'll see. It depends how they play it out. But
yeah, but
it could be a very
what's your theory on why though? Is he trying to push Matt in one direction or the other?
That I don't know. That's where it's like it depends how they make it land. And I get your concerns about Karen being gone. Obviously, she is going to return and she's going to be involved in season 2, and I'm sure she'll be in later episodes and everything like that. But it's kind of cool to see this like new era of where everyone's at. She's in San Francisco. Matt has this new law firm that's like super kind of swanky and like really fancy, which I thought was really cool. Which is funny because in the comics, he does form a law firm with the same character, but in San Francisco. So it's kind of funny how they like reversed that, where Karen went to San Francisco and then he started the law firm.
Well, also, let's throw it out there. I'm still holding out hope, Sean. I think we talked about it on the last time I was on the podcast. I'm still holding out hope. This is like the 4th or 5th fucking show now, or Marvel property where they've mentioned San Francisco. That still gives me hope that maybe after Secret Wars, we are going to get some sort of West Coast Avengers. You know what I mean?
I think it might happen before Secret Wars.
Maybe Daredevil goes over there because Karen needs help or something's going on, and maybe he won't be a regular Avenger, because would they do that? Would they put both Anthony Mackie and would they put 2 regular humans on the same squad? I don't know. Maybe that's not in Feige's viewpoint, because we also already have Ant-Man, so how many people do they want that could die easy on the same team? So maybe Daredevil goes to the West Coast Avengers.
But there's a lot of Avengers already on the West Coast. There's Ant-Man, there's Shang-Chi, there's She-Hulk, there's Wonder Man that's coming. There's a lot of people already on.
I forgot. I keep forgetting we're getting Wonder Man.
So we could get a West Coast Avengers probably in Doomsday, maybe the West Coast inhabitants.
But you know what? I don't care, because you know what I want, and they still haven't given us the news. So
what do you want?
I want. Where's my fucking Nova story, bro?
Oh, well, apparently that's on the back burner.
I know it shouldn't be, but it is. Anyways.
The one thing about the series that I really like is it actually feels like a TV show. And not to say that some of the series weren't great that Marvel's put out, but I can't really
Okay.
say that a lot of them feel like episodic TV. But this feels like it could be on like HBO or something. It feels a lot like Andor did. You know what I mean? Where you're
I
like,
agree.
oh, this feels like a prestige TV show. It just happens to be a Star Wars thing. I feel that way with this, even more so than the Netflix show. It feels so much more episodic to me, at least.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first series that Marvel has put out that was after the regime change of, hey, we're gonna have showrunners for our series now. We're gonna have show Bibles. And their big goal is to like keep doing seasons of Daredevil as a yearly thing. They're filming season 2 right now, so it comes out next year. It's going to be in tandem with that Punisher special that they're going to do. It'll probably be like a 40 minutes to an hour of revolving around the Punisher. But it's great to see that the changes they've made are indeed paying off. And I know some corners of Twitter have been like weirdly negative about Daredevil, but most of the critic response has been insanely positive. Everyone I've talked to has pretty much been loving it, and it's cool to see. It's just like, I don't know, I like talking about the things we love and there being love involved in that, I guess. Like, and I'm not saying don't be critical. You can be critical. You can don't like things. Like part of my job is to be critical about TV, but I don't know. I'm just like really loving what they're doing with this series. Like I think it's an amazing continuation, and like each character still has layers to them. Like you said, all the stuff with Wilson is so wild. I have an article coming out talking about Wilson and Vanessa and their fractured relationship and what's really going on there, that I think is I make some very interesting points within it. So make sure to check that out when that comes out.
Yeah, I look forward to reading that.
It's just like, I don't know, like I'm really excited to see where it goes, because I kind of don't like, obviously after the end of episode 2, Matt's gonna put the costume back on and be Daredevil again for sure. But
he kind of has to at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how, White Tiger plays a factor into this. I know Swordsman from Hawkeye is supposed to be in this show. Miss Marvel's dad is going to be in this show. So I'm excited to see how these kind of like things play out. I do want to end on one thought, because it's kind of a controversial thing, and I'm glad they're bringing it up in this series. I think it's very important. But the cops that we obviously see are like kind of crooked or kind of going on their own path to incite justice had a Punisher tattoo. Obviously, cops and whoever using the Punisher logo is a very problematic thing, because cops are not supposed to be judge, jury, and executioner. They're just supposed to be upholding the law. And the whole point of the Punisher is to right those wrongs of people who don't uphold the law, but taking it in a way that you're not really supposed to. So I'm
Sean, a wise man once said that life imitates art, or art imitates life, right? You know what I mean? The only thing I want to end on is I want to reinforce 2 points you made about the way the show looks and how it feels. It's longer. This is going to be the Marvel TV show with the most episodes. I love that. I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it gives them more time to flush out the character, and like I love it. But also, like you said, it feels like this is not. It doesn't feel like just a normal Disney or Marvel property. Like you could turn this on not knowing anything about the MCU, and you'd be intrigued.
For sure.
And the way the show is being done, and I think that's what's important. I think that's good. I did like the little nods, like when Fisk starts ranting and raving about like the Punisher and Spider-Man and all that stuff. I really like that thrown in there. It's funny that this comes out like a week after or 2 weeks after Brave New World, because in Brave New World, Ross is talking about overturning the Sokovia Accords, basically, or just ignoring them. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of what comes into the court case that we keep seeing in Thunderbolts, and like the courtroom scene, and so for Fisk to reignite the vigilante discussion, I think it's perfect timing. Like Foggy still has a vision. Foggy still has an overarching thing, and it's nice to see just like a little peppering of that thrown on top of Daredevil. You know what I mean? Because we've all seen the interviews with Charlie. He hopes to be an Avenger. He hopes Daredevil will get some big screen time. You know what I mean? I think you and I would both love that. I'm still praying he's in the Spider-Man movie. You know,
I hope.
like at this point in time, it just makes way too much sense. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's being done so well. The story's being told great. Charlie Cox is killing it. I mean, I think enough people, you and I have said this on other episodes of the show, but Vincent just, man, him playing Fisk is just, he just is another level, man.
Yeah, dude, he's right in the conversation with what you said about Charlie Cox and being Daredevil. Like Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin. The way he uses his voice, like he is just such an intimidating character, and I love it. I love it so much. Like, I love that they started off the series with a quote unquote confrontation between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fix, and I can't wait until they collide again. Because obviously he made that threat. He's like, "You put that costume back on, we're gonna have problems." And he's definitely gonna put the costume back on. Like we know.
And I like that conversation came after Fisk is getting ready, and you see him pause on the white suit in the closet. He's like going to grab it, and then he shuffles to another one. Like I was like, just the little subtle shit that they threw in there for the people that watch the old show is just great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. But Joel, thank you so much for sitting down, talking Daredevil, talking Paradise, all the good nerdy stuff, my friend. I always love doing this with you.
I always love being on the show, and thanks for having me on. And all of you viewers and listeners and watchers, subscribe to Metalcore Nerds worldwide.
But before we get out of here, Joel, plug what you got going on. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on the internet at Joel Cupcake everywhere. That's my social media. And that's all I really got going on these days. And then, I'm sure Sean will put it in the link, but I run a company called Pinup Productions. We put on concerts all over the state of California. That's it. I don't know. I'm not super social on the internet these days anymore.
You can follow Joel and check out his awesome pics of Europe. That's what you can do.
Yeah. You can do that.
And if you want to support the podcast, go to metalcorenerds.com. We got all our links there in one easy place. We got our Ghost Ship Metalcore Nerds collab shirt. There's only 10 left. So if you want one, go buy one. If you want to follow me on my personal account, it's just at Sean X Ma on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, see you later, nerds.